Good evening. Welcome everyone to our Centennial Reunion 2012. I'm Jake Shodden, class of 2003 and president of the Alumni Association Board of Directors. For those of you who have been with us the last couple days, I hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. I hear the class gatherings last night were particularly festive. For those who have just joined us, we're glad you're here. We have a great program tonight, a brief annual meeting, including the election of Alumni Association leaders, which will be followed by class gift presentation, the 2012 Alumni Awards, recognition of former Alumni Award winners, and a special college update from President Larry Goodwin. Now on to the meeting. First, I'd like to ask the Alumni Board of Directors who are present to please stand. Donna Burgum, Patricia Bauer-Jernigan, Anthony Brinda, Mary Carlson, Katie DeGraio Channing, Joanne Docteur, Andrew Ensign, Laura Johnson, Diane Queedy, Jackie Larson, Carm Lennon, Barry Lesser, Nathan Miller, Jerry Caracas-Moen, Jackie Pemrick, Sister Claudia Reel, Melinda Smith, Kyle Wormerskirchen, and Joe Westerberg. I present to you your hard-working Alumni Board of Directors. Let's give them a hand. Okay. All our alumni here tonight represent the Alumni Association, and we'll need a voice vote from you for the nomination slate that was in your registration packet. Our nominees for returning board directors for a second three-year term are Patricia Bauer-Jernigan, class of 1983 from Eagan, Anthony Brinda, 2002, Maple Grove, Minnesota, Joanne Docteur, class of 1959 from Duluth, Minnesota, Barry Lesser, class of 1973 from Hoyt Lakes, Minnesota, and Nathan Miller, class of 2004 from Maplewood, Minnesota. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, please say nay. Okay, thanks. Now, nominees for new board of directors for a three-year term are Kelly Erickson, class of 1997 from Hermantown, Minnesota, Kyle Hefner, class of 2009 from Hermantown, Minnesota, and Sister Donna Schroeder, class of 1961 from Duluth, Minnesota. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, please say nay. Okay, thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge the outgoing board members. They're Carm Lennon, Jerry Caracas-Moen, and Sister Claudia Reel. Thank you, Carm, Jerry, and Sister Claudia for your work on the board. At this time, I'd like to ask President Larry Goodwin to join me on stage to receive the class gift. Dr. Goodwin joined the college in 1987 as Dean of Faculty and became president in 1998. We have all benefited from his belief in the college, his work on behalf of our mission, and his ability to inspire others in service. Please join me in welcoming President Goodwin. We want to thank the classes represented here tonight for their generosity and commitment to the college. The majority of the gifts support the All Saints Annual Fund, one of our highest fundraising priorities. The fund makes critical resources available to students, which include scholarships, new academic programs, library and computer services, and so much more. Individual gifts to the All Saints Annual Fund, no matter the size, are critical. Not only do they support important programs and services for students, but they signal our alums' investment in the college and its future. This is important in securing grants and donations from other organizations. Now, I'd like to invite the class representatives to step forward and allow us to acknowledge their generous gifts. We want to thank them for their investments in our future, all of your investments in our future. I'd like to note that individual gifts range from $10 to $10,000. The check was printed yesterday, and we have received additional gifts since it was last printed. As of the printing, there was approximately $97,000 in gifts received this year. The combined class gift participation rate was 22%. The class of 1967 has the largest class gift total. Thank you again. I want to extend a special thanks to the class representatives who not only helped plan a great reunion, but encouraged giving from their classmates. Let's show them our appreciation. At this time, I'll turn the mic over to President Goodwin, who will present the annual Alumni Awards.
Thank you, Jake, and welcome to all of you. You can see these beautiful flowers, but you ought to smell them up here. This is quite a fragrant zone that I'm standing in. So we have 4 awards to present this evening, and we'll start with the Sister Ann Edwards Scanlon Award that recognizes a graduate who has demonstrated outstanding dedication to the college and to his or her community. And this year's recipient is Deborah McDonald Fairbanks. Debbie can't join us tonight, but let me tell you about her, and then she sent some words of acceptance. Since her graduation from the college in 1972, Debbie Fairbanks has worked for more than 30 years as a nurse in rural Alaska, where she raised her family of 6 children. She has worked to resolve community issues of poverty and substance abuse through her nursing career and as a volunteer. She mentors and helps troubled youth overcome addictions, turn from violence, and find positive new directions for their lives. A former resident says she is an ever-present, active member of the Catholic Church and its community outreach in the rural Alaska Delta area. Debbie remains updated in her profession as a skilled nurse. She imparts her knowledge to other rural healthcare workers, and she encourages them and others to seek further education. She has always inspired others in her life by example. A longtime supporter of the college, she has promoted St. Scholastica to many in the Alaskan outback, resulting in students from 2 generations to attend the college. In the tradition of Sister Ann Edwards, she exemplifies the values of hospitality and respect. As one of these students says, she is not judgmental, but encourages and motivates people constructively with an open heart for the vulnerable and the underserved. So let's please acknowledge Debbie McDonald Fairbanks. And here's what Debbie sent as her acceptance. I was very surprised to hear that I was chosen to receive the Sister Ann Edwards Scanlon Award. I thought there must be some mistake, as I have been living in the Yukon Delta in western Alaska for the past 37 years, and surely there is no one in Duluth who knows what I do here. Of course, with modern technology and air travel, communication has made the world much more accessible to all of us. My dear friend and CSS alumna, Jane McGillivray, who lives in Scotland, nominated me. We keep in touch via email, phone, and occasional visits sharing our lives from a distance. We first met in Bethel, Alaska in 1983 and have shared a common bond of faith, family, we each have 6 children, and community service in our respective communities. Following the Yupik Eskimo tradition of taking care of one another makes for ample opportunities to be involved. Our friends, neighbors, and village people have become our family for those of us who are from other places. Our extended relationships up and down the rivers keep us grounded in what is most important in life: people, not things. I believe that God places people and situations in our individual paths each day, giving us the opportunity to say yes to His plans for us. If we choose to say yes and use the many resources we have been given us by our education, jobs, and life experiences, we can make a difference in our communities. The perks we receive by saying yes far outweigh the effort we put forth. I believe most of us are doing this in many different ways: grandparents raising grandchildren, children taking care of aging parents, volunteering with children in schools, in sports, and serving the needs of others in too many ways to mention. We are all called to contribute, a lesson well learned as students at St. Scholastica. To all of you who are saying yes, this award is for all of us. Thank you. I'm always impressed every year with how the recipients really embody the values of the college. And I have to say that sitting in front of me here are previous recipients of these awards. It looks like a deacon's convention from here because we're wearing stoles this year. But this is a very wonderful group. I mean, you're all wonderful, but this group right here is all of our previous winners that could attend. Our second award tonight is the Sister Alice Lamb Award, which honors a graduate who has demonstrated dedication to his or her profession and has continued to be committed to the college. And this year's winner is Elsa Jensen Srinivasam. Elsa Srinivasam, a 1947 alumna and member of the Heritage Club, is an award-winning artist known especially for her work in fiber art. After earning master's degrees in art from the University of Minnesota and the University of Wisconsin, she enjoyed over 30 years of teaching, first in high schools and then as professor of textile design at the University of Kansas and Iowa State University. While at Iowa State, she was awarded 2 Fulbright research grants and 3 grants to study in India. As an expert on Indian textiles, Elsa held a national conference, wrote articles, produced a publication on the subject, and created a traveling exhibition which was seen in all parts of the United States. She founded the Surface Design Association and has done much innovative work to ensure that textile arts receive the recognition that they deserve. She has been the curator for numerous art exhibits and is a published author on the subjects of surface design and textiles, as well as Indian art. While at the college, Elsa worked as an artist and in the Duluth community. She was staff artist and art editor for both the scriptorium and the Tower yearbook, of which her charcoal drawings graced many pages. Her nominator says that she is proud of her connection to the college and the classmates who became her lifelong friends. Elsa has granted the college permission to use her artwork for cards and other publications, and this is indeed a gift for future generations. Elsa and her husband winter in Green Valley, Arizona, where she continues to teach classes, lecture extensively, offer workshops, and exhibit her artwork. Let's congratulate Elsa.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I'll just hold your picture until you're done. How's
All
that?
right.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. How well I remember those 4 years at St. Scholastica. It was a time when I was barely 17 years old when I started out here. And I was a little on the shy side, and most certainly this was a good place to be. What's more, it was fairly close to my home. I lived in Kenwood, and furthermore, it had a faculty that was quite well known. This faculty encouraged us to think for ourselves. They gave us challenges, and they had high expectations. And there were so many who influenced me. Well, just to name a few, there was Sister Salome, who fostered my interest in art and design, and who gave us problems to solve creatively. And then I'll always be grateful to Sister Scholastica. Sister Scholastica urged us and guided us in writing a good paragraph. And this was very important to us, to write a good, strong paragraph expressing ourselves well. Believe me, this helped in the years to come because I wrote articles and also grants. And then in Kenwood, it was not quite as developed as it is now, and we were very close to nature. And what better course could I have than botany and biology from Sister Alice? It brought nature home to me even more so. And then there was a class by Sister Ann Edwards, whom most of you know, and it was called Think and Live. This was for non-Catholics. And she introduced us to various cultures of the world. This was very important. She urged us and told us to think about others and to care for others. Well, there were many, many more. I could go on and on. There was Sister Brigitta and Sister, well, I'll just say there were many, many more that influenced me. And I want to say that the sisters taught us to think for ourselves, and they wanted us to use initiative and to try new things and to listen to others and learn from others. And all in all, they wanted us generally to make a contribution to the world. So thank you, St. Scholastica, and thank you very much for this award.
Over here, we'll take a picture of it.
All right.
We'll just step over here to the right, yeah. The St. Scholastica Inspiration Award honors a staff or faculty member whose interest and care for the students help them to mature, grow, change an attitude, or change direction. And this year's winner is Stephanie Sklors. Stephanie has been an active member of the college community for 20 years, first as a student and then working in the Upward Bound program. Stephanie is a 1995 graduate of the college. In Upward Bound, she helps high school students from low-income families to overcome daunting obstacles in order to prepare for and to succeed in college. Her director and nominator writes, "For many of them, having Stephanie in their lives has been a godsend. She believes in her students even when they don't believe in themselves, and helps them set and aspire to life goals and dreams." Stephanie models social responsibility for her students through her own volunteering and by creating opportunities for her students to give back to the community. Some of the community service projects and volunteer opportunities have included Habitat for Humanity, Chum food drives, CSS food drives, a car wash for the victims of the Siren tornado, Boulder Lake campsite and trail restoration, Bentleyville light setup. I pause on that one because there must be 1 billion lights at Bentleyville. Clothing drives for the Damiano Center, and that's just a few. Approximately 2 years ago, Stephanie selflessly donated one of her kidneys to her uncle. God bless his memory. He died about a month ago, but it was a gift of life, Stephanie. Thank you. As an alumna of Saints Athletics, Stephanie is active in sports events, exemplifying for the students the best tradition of team participation and the we mentality. Her nominator says she understands and lives the Benedictine values and has shown me that community, hospitality, and respect are a way of life. Please join me in congratulating Stephanie.
Forgive my notes, because I found out about 15 minutes prior to that I was supposed to talk, and I get really anxious, so I wrote it on the back of an envelope that my aunt and mom gave me, so please forgive the notes. When I first came to Scholastica in 1991, one of the things that stuck out the most to me was how I was greeted, welcomed. Hospitality, it was screaming the hallways of St. Scholastica. And I remember I was here with my mom and my grandmother, and they said, "This is where you belong." And they felt welcomed, and my grandma, she's pretty hard to please. And as she should be, that's grandma's role, right? And that's my job to please. So when she said, "This is where you will be, this is where you feel comfortable," and I knew right away that this is where I was going to be. Like my director said, that I have not known anything else other than St. Scholastica. I have been here at St. Scholastica longer than I was growing up in high school. I've been here over half the years of my life, and I truly feel every moment as a blessed moment to be here. I was fortunate to get hired here, and I was fortunate that I had the opportunity to touch the lives of those in a way that a lot of the professors here and staff members touched my life. I learned so much from them and the impact that they made on my life. I think one of the things that students, when they come here, don't recognize is that there are a lot of hidden lessons that you learn from being at the College of St. Scholastica, not just the visible ones, the ones that you see with all the Benedictine values and all the different things and signs and symbols that you see when you walk on campus, but there are so many other things that you learn and that you embrace, and you don't even really realize it until you've left here. And in my case, I haven't left here, and I learned so much more each and every day. My first advisor that I had here was Sister Mary Jean Tuttle, who made, and I know a lot of you know who Sister Mary Jean Tuttle, but she touched my life. She spoke and did at my wedding. She gave the prayer at my wedding. But the first thing that I remember about Sister Tuttle was I went in, besides her wearing Energizer bunny ears coming down the hallway, besides that, so I knew that I was going to just love her because of her sense of humor. But I remember when I walked into her office and she said, "I'm going to give you a kiss," and she gave me a chocolate kiss, "and now I'm going to give you a hug. I'm Sister Tuttle." And I remember that. And that's kind of how, with my students, how I approach them. It's kind of ironic that I'm up here for the Inspiration Award, where truly they have inspired me. And I've always been taught that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I really do feel that way with my coworkers. The students that I have in our program, I learn from them every day. For those of you that have grandchildren, sons, daughters, you learn from them every day. From technology, which may be the obvious thing, to patience, love, to learn that when life kicks you down, you just get back up and you keep moving forward. And I hope that the impact that I made on my students is that they know if nobody else will believe in them, I am always there to be their pillar of strength. And I think in many cases they are that for me. And the opportunities that I have to help embody the Benedictine values onto my students is very important to me. And I tell them all the time, if you're not, I don't care if you're Catholic, I don't care what you are. These values are important. They're important for you to be productive human beings in society. Some of them are doctors, lawyers, nurses, educators, chiropractors. So you may have had some of these individuals, and hopefully the students that we guide to graduate from high school to go on to college will take a little piece of St. Scholastica with them, because I know that the impact that it has made on me, I can't ever repay the college. I really, truly am blessed, honored, and when Sister Joan Marie came about a month and a half ago and told me that I received this award, I really thought I was in trouble, to be honest. She called me and I thought, well, okay, it can't be the wrong number. She did say Stephanie. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just wait a little bit. I won't call her back. I'll wait. And then in the meantime, she had called my boss, and my boss invited her to the meeting. So I was sitting there, and I knew that, 8 o'clock, I need to call Sister Joan, and Sister Joan walked in. And I thought, I'm really in trouble now. Sister just came in. And honestly, when she told me, my eyes welled up, and I was very, very humbled. Because, like I said, I really, truly believe that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And that's been my staff, my students, my friends and family, and of course, what better to surround yourself with the community of the College of St. Scholastica. So thank you. I am honored, humbled, and blessed to be a part of this community for so long. I will continue to eat, breathe the College of St. Scholastica. I am forever a saint.
The Sister Timothy Kirby Benedictine Spirit Award honors a graduate for his or her professional achievement and someone who exemplifies the Benedictine values. And this year's recipient is Dr. Barbara Mischler-Oncarlo. Since graduating from the college in 1991, Dr. Barbara Mischler-Oncarlo has had an enormous impact on all whose lives she has touched in her rural Wisconsin medical practice. With extraordinary energy, she has gone beyond the usual care provided by a physician, attending to patients' practical, emotional, and spiritual needs. She has been a teacher and mentor to medical students and to younger people in her community. She is attentive to practical needs, facilitating treatment for financially constrained patients, finding shelter for persons suffering abuse, providing transportation for those in need, and basic necessities for families of patients taken to distant emergency rooms. Barbara's nominator writes that in her 50 years of working in the medical field, she has yet to meet a physician who expresses such compassion, love, and medical knowledge to her patients, employees, and community. Humanitarian dedication is her sole, S-O-U-L, purpose. Barbara has worked with disadvantaged youth to provide them with cultural and travel opportunities, arranging for trips to plays and musicals. Having overcome physical challenges which threatened her own life and the life of her twin boys, she and her husband welcomed 3 foster children into their family. She is a well-rounded, hands-on mom who often is cooking, gardening, crafting, reading, and playing games with her family. Fitness is incorporated into her daily life, and she ends her day with reflection by reading Christian inspirational books. Dr. Barbara Mischler-Ancarlo truly embodies the Benedictine spirit.
Thank you. Well, I too was very surprised and honored to hear that I received this award. And as was said earlier, when I heard a sister was on the phone for me, I thought I was in trouble. I thought, oh my goodness, what did they find out that I did? But no, it was just the opposite. It was this wonderful award that I never would have anticipated receiving. It's interesting to hear President Goodwin read these things. You do these, or I do these, because it's what you do. I remember being here in Scholastica for 4 years, and I could name many sisters. Sister Agnes, who was a chemistry teacher, who was just an inspiration. The sisters in the tutoring room. We had many a long conversation about everything and anything, and helping you through difficult times, and all the different changes that everyone goes through when they're in college, and what are you going to do with your life after college and thereon. Those things that I learned in the tutoring room, in the classrooms, between classes, have really gotten me through medical school and now on into my professional life. And when I look at individuals, one of the things I really try to do, and I credit Scholastica and the sisters with this, is one simple phrase is what I really think about is the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I've found in so many times with the foster children we took in, with my own children, and with patients and doing that, it certainly you give to the others, but my goodness, how much you receive in return. For all the different things that I've been blessed with the ability to do, and I certainly consider it a blessing to have the skills and the talents to be a physician in a small town. It's been eye-opening recently too here with some unfortunate news. I was diagnosed with breast cancer just a few weeks ago, and the outpouring of love and support and that from patients and from people that I didn't even know that would remember that time that you got that prescription for them, or they didn't have money to pay for the office call, so you just took care of it. It makes you speechless to see the things do come back to you, even though you do to do, you give not to receive, but you give to give. It's just a wonderful thing to receive this award, an honor, and I am very humbled by it. Thank you.
These are pretty remarkable folks. and I'm sure proud to work at the place where they graduated. Why don't we give them a round of applause.
Thank you, President Goodwin, and congratulations to this year's award winners. At this time, I would like to acknowledge past Alumni Award recipients who are here this evening. Please stand and let's give them a round of applause. Now, Dr. Goodwin will give us an update about what is going on in the college.
Happy Centennial. Happy summer. It's wonderful to have you all back and together. And I'm delighted to be here with you this evening. I get energized by these reunions because I feel your passionate belief in our college's mission and values, and we just saw them exemplified pretty powerfully in the lives of our award recipients. That energizes me, and it really helps me keep in my mind and in my heart what the whole college is ultimately about. So thank you so much. I'd like to do three things. Provide you a brief overview of what's happening at the college, and then I'd like to take a few minutes and sort of engage you in some of the strategic thinking that we're wrestling with. And then finally, I'd like to share some personal reflections in honor of our centennial. So the overview, all things considered, the college weathered the recent flood pretty well. As you notice, the bridge on our north entrance is washed out and will have to be repaired, perhaps even rebuilt. And we had water in the tower tunnel. We had some drainage damage under our turfed athletic field, and I'm told there's a sinkhole in one of the parking lots. I haven't seen it yet. But we're all safe. All of our new buildings came through with flying colors. You know, we have a couple more tunnels now, and they came through okay. And we do have insurance. I have to say that we're having a centennial year of biblical proportions. In January, there was a drought when we had our weekend snow carnival. And then the only blizzard of the winter came precisely when we had the St. John's Bible on campus and had 3 evening events scheduled. And now the flood, just in time for reunion weekend. So please join me in praying to God that there will be no locusts for our September birthday party. Our enrollment this year came in at just over 4,000 students. About 2,100 of them are traditional students, including more than 100 international students from more than 30 countries, and 1,900 so-called non-traditional students in our graduate, extended, and online programs at our 5 campuses. We expect that the number of traditional students will stay steady or even contract a bit in the next few years. This is due to some demographic realities and to the ongoing effects of the economic climate. Our plan, anyway, was not to grow much beyond 2,200 traditional students and keep the sense of community, but we may struggle to stay at that level, and as I say, we may drop back a little bit over the next several years. Our growth will come in the graduate and the extended and the online sectors, and that means as we enter our second century that our college will be serving more adult learners than traditional students. Our science expansion, I hope you've had a chance to enjoy that, was completed on time and on budget. It was a $16 million project that includes state-of-the-art laboratories and research areas, classrooms and offices, as well as that magnificent gathering space, Benedictine Commons, named in honor of the Benedictine sisters who provided the lead gift in the campaign. We said we would raise $6 million for the project, and we did. We also got a couple of tunnels that connect the campus and make it easier to navigate. So thanks to all of you who had a hand in helping us realize this expansion. Our Board of Trustees has approved the rollout of a new physician assistant program. This program is consistent with our mission. It reflects our strong healthcare brand, and it addresses a definite market need. It also reflects our strategy of continued diversification. The more niches we fill, the more revenue streams we develop, the more legs we add to the stool, the more effectively we can run as an organization in a very volatile environment. On the financial front, we expect to end the year with a 4% bottom line, and with our endowment hovering around $48 million. We're working hard to contain our costs, to keep a St. Scholastica education affordable, and also to strengthen the school for the future. As you can imagine, one of the great balancing acts that our college and all others are trying to pull off these days is how to lower costs without compromising quality. We're looking forward to two major events this fall. In October, we'll be visited by the Higher Learning Commission for our college reaccreditation visit. This is a big deal, and our qualification for federal and state student grants and loans depends upon accreditation. Faculty and staff, who are being led by Sister Edith Bogue of our sociology faculty, have been hard at work preparing the self-study report that will be sent to the evaluators this summer. The other big event in the fall, obviously, is our official centennial birthday party. It's scheduled for September 10th, so please mark your calendars. A little bit more about the centennial in a few minutes. I'd like to spend a few moments now sharing with you a strategic issue that we are pondering here at the college. We live in interesting times for a host of reasons that include concerns over college costs, student debt loads, and developments in the digital world. We educators are being challenged to reimagine our work. And I'd like you to consider with me a couple of thought experiments. If I go on the computer to www.khanacademy.org, I can watch more than 3,000 very simple YouTube videos, perhaps you've seen some of these, by a professor named Sal Khan that explain and illustrate fundamental concepts in fields from algebra and geometry to statistics and physics. I mean, these are very simple. They're sometimes just a diagram that's being drawn and a voice that's talking. And believe it or not, the videos are quite absorbing. I watched one on fractals for 15 minutes before I realized maybe I should get back to work. These videos are all free. If I Google Jerry Cisadlo, one of our biology professors, I can find podcast lectures on anatomy and physiology, together with testimonials such as, I listened to Dr. Cisadlo's podcasts in Australia. He is a first-class lecturer, and I always learn new things from him. Dr. Cisadlo's podcasts are free. Online at places like edX or Coursera.org, I can now find entire college courses, including presentations and interactive exercises taught by professors from Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Princeton, the University of Michigan, and the University of Pennsylvania, all free. I'm told that one of the Harvard courses has an enrollment of 125,000 students. These websites and the appearance and now the proliferation of these online courses provide clues about a future that is rushing toward us and that has the potential to revolutionize student learning, the faculty role, and the higher education business model. Now here's the other thought experiment. Our revenue for fiscal year 13 is projected to be about $72 million. What if a donor were to give us $72 million and ask us to start a college from scratch? How might we design and build that college? Two things come to my mind immediately. One is learning theory. We know that people learn in different ways, and they learn at different rates. If we really believe this, I think the last educational structure we would design from scratch is the one we have. If people learn in different ways, why does higher education depend so heavily on the linear lecture model of instruction? The answer, I think, is because that is the way those of us who are college professors learn best. As someone has remarked, if you came from another planet to Earth and observed the educational system, you would certainly conclude that the whole point is to produce college professors. We emphasize education from the shoulders up and mainly for the left side of the brain. What about other forms of intelligence? What about other ways of learning? How do we develop imagination and creativity and innovation in our students? My point here is not that lectures are inherently bad. They're not. And a really good lecture is powerful and shows a wonderful mind at work. My point, rather, is that not every teacher is a really good lecturer, and not every student learns best from lectures. Similarly, why, when we know that people learn at different rates, do we bundle students in cohorts that meet lockstep Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 65 minutes for 15 weeks? People with different experiences, different abilities, different learning styles are expected to absorb economics or chemistry or philosophy in the same amount of time. And while we're at it, why is an academic year 9 months only? If we no longer need to tend the crops, why not be at school? I don't want to paint a caricature. There are many teachers who are excellent lecturers, and many teachers who supplement lecture learning with other forms of learning, active hands-on projects. This is certainly true here. And the internet is changing our synchronous conveyor belt approach to learning, at least for some of the so-called non-traditional students. And some students do go to school year-round. They go to summer school. But by and large, lectures, seat time, and summers off remain the norm for higher education. The second assumption reflected in our current educational model that I think we would dispense with if we were building a college from scratch is that one of the essential roles of the faculty is to transmit information. A lot of traditional class time is taken up with professors giving lectures, and a lot of the lectures are the transmission of information. That's how I spent most of my time when I taught. But how important is it to listen to Larry Goodwin discuss the problem of evil? I may give a great lecture on the topic, but I doubt that it is the best lecture in the world. Why not share with our students the very best lectures in the world? Alternatively, if my lecture really is that spectacular, why not share it online with students around the globe? And this is where our two thought experiments come together. How would we design a college from scratch if all the best courses were already out there for free? Why would somebody pay tuition? What's the role of a professor? What's the point of a college in such a world? And I do think that's where we're headed. If Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and those fellows are putting courses out there for free, then I think we have to imagine at some point that everything that can be delivered via lecture will be, and we'll be able to see the very best. So what's the role of a professor and of a college in such a world? My answer is, and I don't claim to be right, but I think we need to start wrestling with these questions, but my answer at this point is that the role of a college and the role of a professor in such a world is to provide a supportive environment for the learner and to certify that learning has actually happened. The information, the courses, the podcasts may all be out there and free, but students still need guides, they need mentors, and they need experts who can help them turn the information into knowledge and perhaps even wisdom. Since we can podcast the best lectures in the world, I think that most professors in the future will serve mainly as coaches and judges. They will meet with students individually or in small groups to motivate them, to get inside their heads to see whether they really understand the material in the podcasts, and to determine whether they can use information intelligently to solve problems. In other words, the teacher will be the one who validates that a student has learned the material and is ready to move to the next level. So, if we were going to start a college, understanding that people learn at different rates and in different ways and taking advantage of the resources of digital technology, what might we build? I can imagine a college that operates 24/7, that uses libraries, public lectures, and free courses for the transmission of information, that employs faculty as architects of learning experiences, as coaches, and as judges of student mastery of the material, that partners with the corporate world to design creative, hands-on, problem-based peer group assignments and provide students opportunities for internships and also study abroad trips, that allows students to move at varying rates through course material, Does it really matter if it takes one student 3 months to grasp a subject while another can do it in 3 weeks? That regards failure as an opportunity for students to back up and try again. I love this idea. You know, you meet with a professor, you don't understand the material, you failed it. What does that mean? You're out of school? No, it means go back and work on it some more. Let's take some more resources and get you over the hump. But you can't move on until you can pass this part. And I can imagine a college that awards credits and degrees based on demonstrated competencies, on outcomes, rather than on seat time or inputs. This idea that you would get certified, that you actually know and have mastery over a certain body of material, and especially if in some cases it's done in conjunction with the corporate world, I think is a clue about where we might be headed. Such learning experiences could be distributed for working adults or could take place in a residential learning community for 18 to 24-year-olds. I don't see anything contradictory about self-paced learning in a supportive living community. So the students come here and they're in the dorms and they're in clubs and they do things together, but they're moving at different rates. That doesn't seem contradictory to me. I'm not proposing that we change everything and end college as we know it, but we could open a new division in the school, a place where students study free courses as their homework assignment and then spend class time working with professors to demonstrate their learning. I say let's build new college and see who comes. Will such a venture improve student learning and maybe even reduce costs? I don't know, but let's try it and find out. Ultimately, I feel this idea is really not radical at all. It's really the Oxford tutorial model for a digital age. Okay, got your strategy caps all full now? Let me then conclude my remarks by, I want to tell you the story of how I came to work here. And I offer it because somehow it seems appropriate to me as a centennial kind of a tale. So when I first laid eyes on this house of stone 26 years ago, my heart leapt. It was an emotional response right away. It was a sunny Sunday afternoon in October. I was returning from a camping trip up on the North Shore. I was in my 11th year of teaching at the College of St. Catherine in St. Paul, but I had long since fallen in love with Superior National Forest and with the North Shore. For a boy who had grown up at the other end of I-35 in Texas, Minnesota's Northland was a real wonderland. I was drawn and fascinated by the deep woods and the big water, and I had never before felt such a spiritual attraction to a place. On that fateful Sunday in October, I decided to explore Duluth a bit on my way back to St. Paul. I always drove through Duluth, but I'd never paused and looked around. So I started looking around. I found my way up the hill and wound up on College Street, and I drove past UMD. I said, oh, okay, there's UMD. I rounded the curve, you know this approach, and then through the trees, many of whose leaves had already dropped, I saw the castle. And I was smitten. It was love at first sight. What is that, I thought? What in the world is that? And I was delighted to discover that it was, in fact, a college, a place where I might conceivably work someday. I drove onto the campus. I walked around. I took pictures, including one of a bright gold maple tree framed by a cloister window. It still does it every year. It's a beautiful gold maple tree, and you can frame it perfectly in the cloister window. And then I headed back home to St. Paul, but with a new longing to go home to Duluth. 6 months later, the Dean of Faculty position opened up here. I applied, and I interviewed for 2 blustery days in March, including having dinner with Sister Mary Odile Cahoon on St. Patrick's Day. And then, as I was leaving town, driving up Thompson Hill on Friday afternoon, I passed directly under a rainbow that arched over the highway. I got that job, I thought. And that evening, the school called and offered me the job. I accepted on the spot, and then later thought to ask, what is the salary? That's how I came to St. Scholastica. My heart was pulled here by some force. My journey was marked by great signs: a castle, a tree of life, a rainbow, and dinner with Mary O on St. Patty's Day. This is a very special place. And how many of us can relate to my story and can tell a similar one? We are a true community, whether we are faculty, staff, students, alumni, trustees, friends. We are people who have been inspired by Mother Scholastica's dream and who have been drawn here and drawn back here to help carry it out. Education of the head and the heart, cultivation of the intellectual and also the moral virtues, a sense of larger meaning, the power of knowledge for the purpose of service and transformation. This centennial is our opportunity to reflect together about what this college community means in our lives and to celebrate our great good fortune in having been called here. It's a time to recall and celebrate our founding mothers and our sponsoring sisters, and to proclaim to the world our commitment to carry their animating ideals into a second century. So I say, happy birthday and vivat St. Scholastica.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwin, for those thought-provoking and inspirational words. On behalf of the Alumni Association, I want to express our appreciation for your leadership and commitment. It has served us well. Our program has concluded. I invite you to join me in the Greenview Dining Room for the reunion dinner. If you need a ride down to Summers, there are several shuttle vehicles available in the Mitchell parking lot. Thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you all at dinner.